Okay, we're recorded right now. Let me know if audio kicks in right there. I got 2 or 3 people on here. We're going to go ahead and get started. I appreciate you guys being on time. Anybody else who joins in, then they'll just join in to be a little bit late. With that being said, I'm going to keep this to no longer than an hour. It could be a little bit quicker. Of course, if you have any questions, then please give me some questions. Already a question from Dave Frazier. Let's see what we got here. Oh, he's already going to leave me in 30 minutes. I've already upset him. No, I'm just kidding, Dave. Thanks for being on here for the first part. We're going to get cruising along. If this is your first time on here, well, Eric, there's a question spot down there. I keep that window open for me so you can write me any questions. I'm going to mute you guys for the sake of not having any feedback. If you want to unmute yourself, then you can do so by pushing the microphone in the top left corner of that little window. So this is strictly business. We've taken a couple months off, and now we're back, so appreciate you getting back with me and building this back up. Content is to have live questions that are convenient for everybody and also get some good archived material for the YouTube page. So ground rules, and we'll start right at 5 o'clock, barring any problems with technology. Engage with some questions, ask me some things. Depending on who's on here and how many people on here, we might keep it muted or might open it up a little bit. But ask me some questions. If you are watching this recorded and you do have some questions, go ahead and shoot me an email. You can see I guess it's pretty small on the bottom right there, but rick@rickbosley.com is where you can find my email. So if you're watching this on YouTube or at a later point, you've got some questions, shoot me an email. I'll talk to you about it. Mute yourself if you're talking, if you're cooking, if you're driving, or whatever you might be doing. Just keep it quiet. Implement what you've learned. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You're wasting my time, and it's never good to waste anybody's time. So take some notes, and if things here are speaking to you, then let's put use for it. Tell me what you've implemented from previous webinars. So I know that one thing we've implemented from previous webinar is, Dave, I've got you unmuted right here, is the David Frazier and Debbie Irons partnership. That came from a webinar.
It did.
It came from, I believe, the listing presentation, or was it lead gen? What did that come from?
I think it was the lead gen webinar.
Okay. Yeah, so they're on there. You're going to hold accountable. I said, Debbie, I said, congratulations. And you guys have been doing it for about 5 or 6 months. I believe you're down about $200, but she hasn't paid a thing yet.
No, she paid last month. She paid last month. I paid this month.
You just tell your story better.
Exactly. Yeah, we posted when she gave me a $100 bill at Nona Blue.
That's right. Here's the video. Cool. Well, we'll get going with this. We're going to talk about how to build a business from a database of 300 people. Let me ask you guys on the phone call right now, David and Eric, how many people would you say you have in your database who they know you're a realtor and you have their name, number, and email address? How many people do you think?
So go ahead, Eric.
I mean,
what's that?
I only have about 150 like that.
150, okay.
I got more. I just never.
David?
I've got
David, how many do you have?
I probably have about 280 in my A list, and about over 1,000 in my total database.
Okay, so good. I like that you said the total 1,000 versus the 280. So the 280 likely you do something a little bit different for them. They get some preferential treatment. So a lot of these things you might already be implementing, and there's going to be a key word of consistency that we're going to see here. So tonight we're going to talk about breakdown of your database, of truly defining who's who, where do they belong, and depending on where they belong, how do you market to them. Communication of your database. Once you know where they belong, how do you talk to them? What's the conversations and how often? Come from contribution. Guys, don't forget this. This is in everything we do. We've got to constantly bring value to them. So what's in it for me? Don't get into that scenario. Come from contribution. Be the expert. For the love of goodness, you guys are professionals out there. If you go to a doctor and they don't know the answer to things, are you going to go back to that doctor again? I don't think so. Be the expert. Know your knowledge. Know your product. Your product is real estate. What is your plan? So we have the business plan. We're all business owners. Are you following that plan? Do you even have a business plan? You've got 150, you've got 300, you've got 1,000 people in your database. What have you committed to in your communication with them and your flyers with them? What is your plan? So we'll talk about that. So here we go, breakdown of your database. This should be a familiar page for you. It's out of the lead generation model, and it's out of the book on page 137. When I say the book, it's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. So if you're listening to this, you don't have a copy of that, then take a look or talk to a local team leader, and we'll get you a copy. Allied resources. Who can tell me what an allied resource is? And you guys are both off mute. Who's an allied resource?
My lender, my inspector, my title company.
What makes them allied resources?
I've got a relationship with them now that it's a two-way street. They know they're not going to get business with me. They're not going to get business from me unless I get some reciprocal and just going both ways. And that's something I've implemented in the past 6-8 months.
Okay. So what makes an allied resource is someone who gives you business on a consistent basis. Could an allied resource be a bartender? Well, not for you, David, but for. Could an allied resource be a restaurant manager?
I think so, absolutely.
What do you think, Eric?
Yes, they can send you business.
If we go off the definition of what's an allied resource, it's people who you give you consistent leads on a regular basis, who you want to meet with one-on-one. Typically, it's your smallest group. I would consider to remind yourself to come from contribution, not always to make it a tit for tat. Of course, you want to. Get leads back. However, if you've got somebody who you're an allied resource for, likely they're that person because they're the best of what they do and they offer the matched customer service you do. If you're plan B right now, peg your way into be plan A yet. Maybe not cut off that well, because it becomes a tit for tat of what's in it for me. It's a mindset that we're always going to remind ourselves. David, there's a book you just recommended. Tell me about the book. 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Marr.
Communication.
Yeah.
Right.
So Michael's recently
out of Atlanta.
You just took my thunder. I knew that. Yeah. Ideas of breaking down your database. You got to know who you're talking to. Know your audience. Always going to know your audience. So allied resources, step 1, smallest group because it takes the most time. Okay. The next group over here is going to be your MET group. These are people who the beginning question was they have your name, they have your number, you have their name and number, and they know you're a realtor. You can market to them. When you call them up, you don't have to reintroduce yourself. You can say, hey, this is Rick, what's up? And you don't have to say, this is Rick from Keller Williams, how are you? That's your MET group. They already know who you are. You've already built that rapport. And this is what you do an 8x8 33 touch with. This is really the area we're going to talk about today because this group is who's going to give you your highest return. If we keep going just for the sake of knowing the rest of the chart, your next group's your targeted group you haven't met. This is going to be your 12 direct of maybe a farm or maybe a certain club organization looking into, but they don't know who you are still. And then, of course, the general public is the largest. The goal, if you've got 150 people and you want to do 300, is to constantly move people into the inner circle. That's what you've got to do because without that, you're not building your database, and your database is your business. So I mentioned some names earlier on the call. Yin Yao has 300 people exactly. If he gets somebody who's number 301, guess what he does? He opens the back door and kicks somebody out. Because he knows that he can't manage everything that he does if he has 500 people. Because he loses quality. He doesn't keep the same consistent value to them. So he's very selective. So ask yourself that. Who is this person? How am I going to treat them? What's the conversation? So communication in your database, you guys tell me which of these are used for your sphere of influence. You guys know that answer?
I've been using 33 Touch.
33 Touch.
I just started doing this with EDS.
Okay. So great. 33 Touch, for those of you guys who don't know what that is 33 forms of communication in a 12-month period. That communication could be an email. It could be a direct mail. It could be a phone call. It could be a video message. It could be a Facebook tag, whatever it might be. It's 33 times, which is about every 12 days, they are hearing from you. Hey, this is Rick, your realtor. Who do you know? Hey, this is Rick, your realtor. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy birthday. Okay. Your 8x8s are people who you've met and you want to really put them in an inner circle as quick as possible. And your 12 directs who you don't know yet and you want to eventually put them in an inner circle. That 33 touch is really for the inner circle. So we're going to talk about the 33 touch. Eric, you mentioned on there how you've got eEdge has a 33 touch. So Keller Williams has a product called eEdge out, which is our database management, and with that, they also give us a marketing component. And what they've done is for the 80,000 associates and agent partners here is said, here, if you won't create your own 33 touch, at least just push play on this campaign. Okay? But truly, what does that campaign look like? You guys know, if you really look through the 33 touches, what are you doing to get your communication out there?
I just started. I've been in business a long time. I never really used this. I came from the other Keller Williams office as a buyer's agent. So I'm just trying to get my act together now with my database.
Well, perfect. You're on here for a reason. So I want you to take a look at that 33 touch, and I want you to go through week by week, every 12 days. What are you doing? Do you approve of it? Is it you? I remember when I first started Keller Williams and E-Edge eventually rolled out shortly thereafter, and I get a call from my buddy. He says, what kind of stuff are you sending me? And I said, what are you talking about, Matt? He goes, you sent me something with a rainbow and an old bunny rabbit, and what is this? And frankly, I had no idea what I was sending. I just pushed play and kind of wiped my hands and went golfing.
That's what I did.
And that was a big aha for me, that we're sending stuff out and delivering a brand, yet if it's not what I want to do, or am I really getting the highest conversion? Again, Keller Williams created that to make it foolproof. They've got to figure out a system that's one size fits all for 80,000 people. Does that fit you? Now, how many of those emails does it say bulk to? You guys see my thing here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, make sure you don't look at my other screen because my email's popping up.
Yes.
How many of those emails do you think go in someone's junk mail? I'm looking at my junk mail box right now. Let's see what I've got in there. There's someone else 33 touch at me. Someone else 33 touch at me. So I'm getting, because it naturally appears like spam because you send stuff out there. So be careful with what you're sending of who's it actually going to. Because we have permission for this information, yet if it's getting spammed, then what's the point? So I want you to think about what your 33 touch is. Here's the 33 touch that I would do for my top 300 or top 150, whatever that magic number is. 12 monthly market pulse. What is a market pulse?
Well, it comes out monthly. You know, it tells what the market stats are from. You get it from Aura.
Yeah. So you get that from Aura. The work is done for you. The information we trust is accurate. Could you not forward that information? Could you not print it out and mail it to everybody in your database? They say, here, I care about you, so I want you to know exactly what's going on in this market. Every month they get that.
Sure.
That puts you as the expert. They're going to get that piece of mail. They're going to get it. Who are they going to think about whenever they have a question about real estate?
Right.
Are they getting that email? And are you even sending that email? What's interesting is Keller Williams gives us a default, which is brilliant. It's a video and it's a market of the moment. However, it's on a national level. Is that the correct communication? Can you change that? So that's one aspect. I want you to think about that market pulse. Are you going to send it out a video, tag everybody on Facebook? What are you going to do? Or maybe you do all of the above. And again, this is fully customizable, so if you don't like that idea, don't do it. However, if you're thinking about, I can print this out for 11 cents a copy times 300, and it costs me 50 cents to mail it per thing, it's costing you less than $200 a month. And you let 300 people know that you are the expert. It's a good investment. 12 success stories. Tell me about some success stories you might have as a realtor in this field. Yes, just listed.
I think you just get testimonials.
Just sold. Testimonials of clients. Let people know that not only am I smart, I'm actually successful. Give those success stories. If you need to build upon your success stories, guess what you get to borrow? You get to borrow your office's success stories. You get to borrow perhaps a testimonial or a neat story. And you can borrow a story from another agent that you heard from a team meeting. Let them know you're out there and you're busy. So success stories, and actually I'm going to go ahead and email you guys both something that I created after I took Bold, and it's a flyer that says just listed. Rick did it again. It's just a real neat way to say, look what I did again. I'm cranking it out. What do you think happens if on the first of the month they get expert information from you, and on the 15th of the month they hear about all the homes that you sold or families you put under contract? Like clockwork, every 2 weeks. Who do you think they're going to think about? These 300 people know realtors all the time. They get cold calls, they get spammed, they get emailed, they get flyers to the thing. You're consistent, you're giving the value. So there's 24 touches. Now you've got 4 phone calls. This is at least quarterly. If you guys can do more than this, then do so. But this is an example of the 33 touch. 4 phone calls. Hey, did you get my market data? What did you think about that? Hey, I was just checking in, long time. How's everything been? By the way, I'm in a competition. By the way, I've got some homeless lock boxes. I need some homes. I feel lonely. Right, David? So you give that phone call out.
Absolutely.
Or how about those phone calls that say, you know what, I've got some buyers right now, and it's a seller's market. It's about 5 to 1. I just showed that I'm an expert. I know what I'm talking about. And frankly, the inventory that's out there is not sufficient for these buyers, so I'm calling everybody I know to say, who do you know who has a home that fits this criteria? Might be looking to sell. Now they're thinking about it. Now those leads come pouring in. Are you having those conversations? More importantly, are you doing it with all 300 people on a regular basis? Are you doing it kind of when you think about it on the way home maybe? So many people, they've got this thing in the phone called a iPhone or a Droid or a BlackBerry if you're still from the early parts of 2000s. Just kidding. BlackBerry's a good little tool. Are you using it, or is it simply just an ignored database for you? It's the most powerful thing we have. Be purposeful with who you're talking to. Birthday card. How many of us love getting birthday cards in the mail? When you get these direct things in the mail, I mean, you look forward to that. If it was your birthday and not anybody posted on your wall on Facebook and nobody sent you a card, you'd be bummed. It's interesting how much we love to be loved, especially realtors, because the majority of us are high I's. So send them a birthday card. Let them know you care. Okay? Now 4 others, more success stories, customer appreciation, housewarming parties. So we're going to talk about some creative ways to, I don't know where it's at, but some of those other things that you can do that have heard some really cool success stories. And if you guys have anything else, then by all means, jump on in. How many closings should your database yield you? You guys know the statistics for that? David, you know this.
I think it's every 6 people should give a transaction, or is that close?
Yeah. Bingo. It's actually 16.6%, which is 12 out of 2. So instead of saying 1 out of 6, say 12 out of 2, because 1 of those 6 will refer you to somebody, and 1 out of 6 will use you. And that's a study right out of the MREA book, which is research upon research. So if you have 300 people, how many should that yield you? How many closings? 50.
No
Now, Yen Yao, I said, has it, and he closed 57 last year. Beth Hobart does it. She closed 48 last year. 50 is the average. Some are above average, some are below average. How purposeful are you with this? Are you memorable? Do people know who you are? Did you make an impact with them? If you're building this and you've got 150 people you'd say there right now, that means you've got work to do. You've got to go build it from 150 to 300. So how are you going to put people there? This is a little token that says if you have a conversation with somebody, whoever talks least, whoever talks more has a better memorable experience. So if you're having a conversation and you're just blah, 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 talking, then you're likely going to leave that going, wow, that person was great. And they're going to leave going, oh my gosh, I couldn't get a word in. Be conscious of that when you're talking to these people. You're memorable. Did you do your job? Did you provide exceptional customer service? Do you know about them? Do you care about them? You know, Dave Ramsey mentioned at the Met Family Reunion retreat, he says people matter. And so many times we get caught up in business, we forget that these are human beings. We forget that this is not a listing that fell apart, that we lost our commission on. This is a family who cannot move closer to their sick mother out of state, and now they've got to go and spend. People matter. They know you care. Are you asking about what matters to them? Something to think about. Are you desperate to make a closing? God, that freaks. When you have desperation and you know that you're not going to be able to pay a bill, you start getting greedy. You start trying to get a little pushy, and you're desperate to make a closing. You stop coming from contribution. You come from necessity and come from greed. Now, I get it. Sometimes we're up against the wall. We've got to make a sale. But put that poker face on. Remember why you got in business to come from contribution. So ask yourself that. Something to think about. Are you the expert whom they trust? Do you know the answers? When they ask you a question, do you know it? If you don't know it, do you find the answer and give them back? What have you done for them lately? So I mentioned at the very beginning, David, you mentioned that in Allied Resources, if they give me referrals, I'll give them referrals. Or maybe they're thinking the same thing.
Well, in all honesty, I was taking that out of context. It was a different analogy. I was looking at the Allied Resource as the title company and the ancillary services that we have, not as my A list, on my database.
And I didn't mean to keep picking on you. You just happened to say that. So, and I know that for the record. I gotcha. Dave's thinking, great, this thing's recorded out there forever. No, David takes care of his clients. He doesn't care who is it with. He's going to give you the best business. So don't worry about that. David Frazier, folks. David Frazier. What have you done for them lately? Come from contribution. Jenny Weimert, one of my agents, I see in the report last month that she had a $1.5 million closing. Whoa. So I text her, awesome job. She goes, thanks. I said, is that a personal best? She says, I have no idea. I just sell houses. That's her mindset. Now, it ended up being a typo. It wasn't 1.5, yet for her, it was going, I don't know. I just come from contribution. I help my clients. So there it is. Closing gift. You guys giving a closing gift? Are you being thoughtful with that closing gift? 1-year anniversary HUDs. How nice is that? They've got the taxes coming up. They've got all sorts of things. In January, are you sending them that 1-year anniversary HUD? Everything they need to know? Housewarming parties. This is a Ray Lopez special. So again, everything I'm talking about here is through other conversations. If you guys noticed this, I can't take any credit for myself. So Ray Lopez, when he closes a nice size buyer, he keeps it at 250 plus. You can use your choice. But he says, see it, David's got to go. I made him mad. Now, David, go take care of the family. Appreciate you being on here. We'll chat with you soon. He says, anyone above 250,000, he's going to throw a housewarming party. And he says, okay, give me your name of top 30 people. I'm going to throw you a party. I'm going to call them. I'm going to give the invites. And he says, okay, here's the top 30 people. He calls them out and says, hey, my name's Ray. I just sold a house to your friend Steve, and we're going to throw a housewarming party for him on June 15th. We'd love to see you there. It's going to be catered with Four Rivers Barbecue. Can we count on you to be there? Fantastic. And you leave it at that. You don't say, by the way, who do you know? You don't make the sales pitch. You come from contribution. You throw Steve a housewarming party. When you're there, you sweat and you work and you cater that food and you throw him a housewarming party. What do you think Steve's going to say to his 30 friends who are there? It's going to happen. You're going to get business. When you come from contribution, it comes around full circle. Going out of your way for them, even though you know you won't get a sale. You picking up that phone. They closed 2 months ago. They got a question about insurance. Are you doing everything you can for them when you know you're not going to get a sale out of it? Now, you be the expert for them. When they need a recommendation for a landscaper, for a pool company, whatever it might be. Okay, so that's ways we come from contribution. Go out of your way no matter what the repercussion is for you. Do something for them they can't help but tell their friends. Have you thought about a time you've had exceptional customer service? Oh my gosh. The Ritz-Carlton, they blah, 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 whatever they did. Southwest Airlines. There's a story in Southwest about the bowl instructor actually told this. It was someone's 18-year-old birthday. They're on the airplane. Of course, there's no fire in the airplane allowed. So the stewardess turned off all the lights, and the stewardess had everybody in the cabin turn on their I need stewardess light bulb. And it looks like you've got now a handful of candles. And everybody sang happy birthday out loud on the airplane. And then when the kid blew fictitious candles, everyone turned off the light, which resembled the candles going off. That's something that he can't help but tell his friends about. That's something where Southwest Airlines has made such an impact on him. Come from contribution and do something they will remember you. Okay, we're ready to keep on going. Be the expert. Do you guys know the current market data? When you see a market pulse, are you reading it? Are you studying it? When you're putting a flyer out in a neighborhood, do you know the inventory? When you just sold something, do you know the comps? You think you guys might be doing great. Are you doing great compared to the rest of the market? We're bust right now. We're in May 2013. That it's a very exciting, very fast-moving market right now in Orlando. And if you're doing about 8% better, then you might be behind the 8 ball. Because in the last quarter, the volume's gone up by 11%. So are you 3% behind? Do you know the current market data? Do you know your own data? Do you know what your list price to sale price is? Do you know what the average price per square foot is? Do you know how to get a comp that's outside the neighborhood? Do you know how to speak appraiser? Do you know your average days in the market? Do you know what your unique value proposition is to your clients? Do you talk to title people or frequently? Mortgage, government laws that are upcoming. Are you the expert? If you're not, take time to study this. This is your profession. Do you have a list of vendors for every need that somebody might have? Every need. I don't care what it is, because when people move to a new town, they don't know a thing. If they need a babysitter, go get some babysitters. If they need a hairstylist, go get a hairstylist. If they need a favorite Thai restaurant, know what it is. You know, a neat exercise for this is just use the ABC of the yellow pages and go through there and you look at all the professions and go find them. That's a great way to build your database because you come from contribution. Hi, Mr. Auto Mechanic. I'm a realtor here in the area, and oftentimes I'm going to have some clients who a car breakdown. They might need a great realtor. I'm looking to get somebody who I trust, who has some similar values as I do. I'd love to get together for 5 or 10 minutes, just get to know you and see if we're a good fit for each other, if we do our business the same way. What do you say? Can we meet? You've got a meeting. Congratulations. So get your list of vendors for everybody. When you get those list of vendors, is it in the source where you have business cards readily available? Or do you put in a Word document where you can send it to them? Maybe you want to have those vendors give you a chunk of money and you can pay for a nice published pamphlet with your branding on it. And now your clients get your preferred vendor list. Just think about that. Okay? So what's your plan? I want you're writing this to write this down right now, January, February, March, down to December. You've got your people on that list. I want you to think of who's in the list and say, what am I going to do in January? February, March. We talked about 4 other items. Maybe you want to do a July 4th apple pie delivery. Maybe you want to do a pumpkin patch in October. Maybe you want to do a customer appreciation during the holidays in December. Whatever you want to do, Easter egg hunt. Get it for your friends and family. All 300 of them will not show up, yet by calling, they know you care. What's your plan? This is one of those things where you implement your plan. This is where you're going to say, if I really want to make a difference and make an impact on these database of mine, then do it. Now, 300 is a happy number because you can get 40 to 50 closings, yet if you want to build a team, and the 40 to 50 closings will come from another source, then go get 1,000 and make this your income. Go get 500. Go get however many you can handle with you as an individual agent or you as your team and still maintain the quality and still afford the consistency of the mailings. Whatever's within your budget, and your budget also has time, and your budget has a price. Excuse my Bluetooth kicking in there. So we're going to keep moving on. I'm cruising through this real fast. You know, it's only been a half hour. I think I've been talking real fast. Yet there's some homework. So I want you to take you time blocked from 5:30 to 6 o'clock. I'm sorry, 5 to 6 o'clock, and I want you to truly commit to yourself the next half hour to identify these things up here. Identify who is in my Allied resources. Who's in my MET group? Are you utilizing them and putting them in the groups? Who's out here you want to put in there? Because remember, you got to put them all in. Once they're in there, I want you to identify, what is my 33 touch? What am I doing in January? Where are we at? What questions are out there? Does this seem overwhelming? Does it seem almost too simple and you wonder why no one else is doing it? It's about... Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, for me, I mean, I just started, I'm kind of halfway implemented this, but nothing even close to any idea what I should be doing. So I need to quickly call it and start over and do it.
So let me see if I can get a drawing thing here. In business, here's where you start off. This is how you get a sale. Okay? Up top, the pinnacle is what we want. We want the sale. Good stuff. Let me change my pen out here. Normal drawing mode, arrow, spotlight, pen. Before they're going to do this, they've got to trust you. Pardon my mouse handwriting. You're not going to get closed if they never trusted you to represent them in the single most arguably financial decision of their life. Before they trust you, they've got to know that you're knowledgeable. You've got to be the expert. You've got to show your value. So knowledge and value. God, that's awful handwriting. Before they even care what you know, they have to know how much you care. They've got to like you. So if you're out there and you're new to this and you don't know if you could compete against the people who've been doing this for 5, 10 years, or you don't know, here's what you've got on the edge, is that the person out there who's in your phone, chances are for them, is a complete stranger. For you, they already like you. You're already one step closer. When they like you, do not go right here. Do not jump this. Go up the steps. Provide the value. I know what I'm talking about. Trust me, let's do this. Come from contribution. It'll happen. It's a progress. So many times people either call their friends and family and go right to here, and their friends or family are going, Now, you might have some close friends. They already trust you. It's already there. And most of us already have it. You walk in, you get 1 or 2 closings in your first 3 months, and you go, uh-oh, I just went through my friends and family. Build it. Build that pipeline. And if you go out there and you focus on people who are right here, first thing is build rapport. Build rapport with them, get them to like you. What's unique, Eric, or for anybody else there who's listening, is that your database is unique to you. No one else has your database. It's just yours. I might have some people in it, but no one else can duplicate your 150 people in the world. It's like your fingerprint. Those 150 people that might be competing, yet if you were to go every month and send them statistics and send them success stories and call them on their birthday, you're going to be there. You're putting the knowledge and the value. When you call them and say, you know what, I need to fill up my pipeline, who do you know? They're going to trust to send their friends and family to you because of everything they've seen you've been doing. Sometimes that's why you don't get referrals, because they don't want to give a coworker to you because if it's bad, then they look bad, and they're not sure you know what you're doing yet. And that's a harsh reality to know, but I wonder how much of it's true. Because they say that most people looking back in a given 12 months will know 7 people who moved. If you think about it, you look back, you may know that when they're moving, but you can say, yeah, these 7 people moved. And that's interesting because if you could teach your 300 people to give you referrals on even one of those, that's huge. Okay? Does that help, Eric, when you said it's overwhelming, not overwhelming, yet you're getting into it, you don't know what you don't know? I think the moral of the story is your database is your business. Keep it simple and just know where you're at.
Yeah, I just
put them up there.
Just building from the ground up, just getting all this. I just never really utilized it before.
Yeah.
I worked with an agent for 13 years for another person, so I really didn't keep track like I should have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now it's like, boom, I need to do it myself.
Yeah, and I think it's just being real with yourself. Identifying, does this person even like me yet? I've got 1,800 Facebook friends. People send me friend requests all the time. I look, and if they're in real estate or Keller Williams, I'm going to accept them because it's a marketing and a business tool. If they don't like me yet, they just know who I am through Facebook. Do people really like you? Or is this somebody who you used to know had a falling out and still on your phone? So I think get real with yourself. So many people say they have 2,000 people in the database, and they closed 15 deals last year. I'm going, well, what the heck are you doing with your 2,000 people? Go find me your top 100, and let's ignore the other 1,900, and we'll do better. So, interesting concept there. Let me get back to my normal drawing tool here. What I would answer it for you. What do you promise to implement in your business? So, how do I clear this thing out? Sorry, here. Erase all drawings. Cool. What are you going to implement? What's your first plan of action?
What?
It's going to be identify your database.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be get that clear-cut plan. What am I going to do with these people? If you get 500 people and there's no way that you're able to afford 500 mailings twice a month, or if you get 500 people and you know that you can't possibly keep up with quarterly phone calls, 500 is about 175 a month. It's about 1 a day, or 10 a day. Think about that. Break it down. Is this manageable? Do I have time? Am I full-time? Can I afford it? If you can't afford it, guess what? Start with 300. It's okay, because then you'll be able to afford it. Higher leverage and hire more stamps. If you want to see some more of these, I've got a handful of these webinars downloaded on youtube.com/BosleyRick. I guess I can't highlight it there. Oops. Also, I've got a little blog I occasionally do, my Facebook and my Twitter handle. If you want to see me on there, go ahead and subscribe to that YouTube page. That way, if you see any little micro trainings pop up or any more of these webinars pop up, you'll be notified of it. If you like it, if you don't, then of course don't subscribe to it. That won't make any sense. And then also the office that we work out of is KW Waterford. So you can take a look at KW Waterford and upcoming events, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm a coach and consultant. I'm a team leader. My job is to grow the office with talented agents and to grow my currently talented agents into better realtors. So who should I be talking to? If you listen to this, whether live or whether recorded, shoot me a text. Say, hey, I just listened to the webinar. This is who should really listen to this. Somebody who's frustrated, who's at a roadblock. If you know of anybody right now, give me a text. You got my cell phone right there. Shoot me an email. Would love to help it out. But that's it. Short and sweet, about 30 to 40 minutes. Because it's really not rocket science. It's saying that real estate is simple and it's not easy. It's simple because we just broke down. It's common sense almost that we all say, well, yeah, that's an easy plan. The discipline, the habits, the systems, the consistency, the coming from contribution. That's the skill. That's what comes through here. All right. So that is it. That's a quick webinar on there. Any content that you want to see upcoming next, I believe next week we're going to be canceled because I've got a bold. The following week is how to sell 16 homes in your first year. That's a capping status at this price point. That's what the goal is through Ignite. So we're going to have some people who did cap in their first year on here to share some just simple techniques. So if you are fairly new or if you're not yet selling 15 to 20 homes, jump on there. We're going to break it down and say, here's the most important thing to do now to be successful later. That's it for tonight. I got to run. Thanks for being on. Take care.